I'm laying here late at night thinking about, sometimes I get pretty down on my situation, my cold tent, 58 degrees is what the heater says. But hey, I got a heater at least. Uh, my busted stove and all these challenges and all the struggle and all the strife and all the hard times that have happened and um, I think about my friend Dave from the Mesa, how he used to make he used to call it a Zen garden. He'd take a rake and he would make little patterns in the dirt, and it would all blow away or change over time. But he liked to do that, and that was his activity. It kept him going. Of course, now poor Dave, he had a aneurysm, and he doesn't really walk anymore, and doesn't get to go outside and do his zen thing anymore. And I remember all the good times we would have. Me and Joe and Dave. We'd have barbecues and listen to music and just have a great time. And I remember being in the house in the hole. My underground house I lived in, and built by my friend Perry, who was kind of lost to, you know, um, problems. I'm not going to get into too much detail with Perry out of respect for him. And I'm sure he wouldn't want me to talk about him too much um, online, but you know, living. There's a cat just jumped up behind me. Living, in the house that he partially built, and then I kind of finished a little bit. Put a roof over it, and half naked, as a Black Hawk helicopter hovered 50 feet overhead, maybe, checking on me and my crops. And decided I wasn't a threat, I guess, because half naked dreadlock dude. I don't know if I had dreadlocks then or not. I don't remember. But looking up at him, probably just had underwear on, and that's it. And that was pretty much all I wore for a long time. uh, and just life is crazy. Sometimes I really think my partner's out of my league. She I don't know. She deserves so much more than I can give her. At least so far. I still, try to maintain. I get pretty down, but I try to maintain some kind of positivity, thinking that eventually I will be able to build up my situation out of where I am now. But I feel like I've been through enough that I respect people that that are struggling, and I feel like a lot of people in this world do not. A lot of people in this world won't even look at what's happening in South Sudan. People won't think about North Koreans. People won't think about people in their own country. Americans won't even look at what's happening to the homeless in the streets of California, or the struggle of the people on the mesa in New Mexico. They won't even look at that. They just pretend those people don't even exist. I think it might be too painful or too intense to look at for them, but I soak that in because I have to remind myself of my place. That it ain't that bad. Even though I'm in a tent, it's cold, and I got 2 layers of socks and 2 layers of sweatpants and 2 layers of sweatshirts, and this hat, which is just whatever hat I could find. It's not the right hat. I like my beanie, but I couldn't find that, so I threw this on, even though it doesn't fit right at all. It's like completely loose and whatever, but it's cold. You got to wear some kind of a hat. But I have to remind myself that it ain't all that bad. And sometimes I think that maybe that's the thing to do in life, as a first worlder, quote unquote. Maybe my life isn't that great, but sometimes I wonder if the only real valuable thing I can provide to the world is, to help people that are even worse off than I am, living it, wear this tent, this Chinese bell tent, knockoff of some other design probably, um, would be a luxury item, with a nice stove in it. Um, that'd be a luxury item for them. That'd be like as much as, let's see, if a South Sudanese soldier makes $2, what was it? $2 a month, not $2 a day. It was $2 a month, I believe. That would take them 50 years to buy the stove, and it would take them 250 years to buy the tent. Is that right? Yeah, 250 years to buy the tent. So, I mean, that's rough. Like, can't even imagine, what I'm over here like, man, a 30-year mortgage, that sounds pretty steep, to get a house, and difficult for me to afford, and have to work full time. I got to work, 40-hour week, and there's people over there in, working 7 days a week just to, get one meal a day and live in a shack, Now, that's not to say we can't improve. That's something we gotta, we gotta consider that we're smarter than this and that we can do so much better than this, I think. Maybe I'm overestimating the people of my own country, but I think we can do better than we're doing. But, you know, um, instability is rife in the world today, and just to have any kind of safe place to be, and to have the ability to go to sleep at night without really worrying too much about being shot, um, even in this country, it's pretty high status, man. We don't live in a easy world, so don't take it for granted, if you're out there and you live in a place maybe you're not that happy with, maybe you want to do something else with your life, just, I don't know. I don't like I don't like the whole trauma Olympics thing. I don't like people saying your suffering isn't, worthy. I have done it. I've been guilty of it, but it helps sometimes to think about that. Um, I would say don't compare yourself. Just be, aware that you might be kind of lucky to have that world around you where you're safe, and where you're okay, and that there's food on the table. And don't take that for granted because it's not a guarantee. We're animals in a very difficult world, fundamentally, that's not totally stable, Um, and so, yeah, just don't take it for granted, man. Don't take life for granted, and don't take your safety and comfort for granted, because it's a big deal, even for people in your own country. There's a guy talking to you on YouTube right now that has definitely been through some pretty rough situations, and um, I could go right back there at any time. Enough a sequence of enough bad dominoes were to fall, I'd be right back out there. So don't take your safety for granted. Take care of yourselves, and have a good night.